when you draw, you need to think about everything as a whole. So often what happens is we get very fixed on drawing lines and outlines, where we really need to try and take our minds away from that and think about how to show something's volume and something's depth. So when you think about drawing, think about you're drawing an object, say, just talk about one thing. You'll think about the height of it, you'll think about the width of it, but you also need to think about the depth of it. So that means anything that goes back from the picture plane. So that's the picture plane, that just means the picture. Anything that's going back from it, like that, yep, is depth. In this sense, we often think about it as perspective. Perspective is just one way of looking at it. The main thing is to remember that as things go into depth, they change size, they lose contrast, and they become lighter in general. So when you portray that in your picture, you will then get a more accurate depiction of what you're trying to draw. I don't like the word accurate. It's very important, but really drawing isn't about exact copies of things, because it's not possible. Every single work of art or drawing is filtered through someone's mind, and therefore it is an interpretation. And the most important thing is to create the feeling and the essence of what's there. When you've got that, you've got it. That does take a lot of accuracy, but it's not just that. Right, so one example, okay, is thinking about light. Light gives depth, okay? Light gives depth because it shows form. There are other ways of thinking of light, how light works, but in this case we want to think about it in terms of depth. So if you have a ball, your absolute traditional exercise in this is to shade it, starting with your dark to light. We're going to do it the opposite way because it shows you that really tones come from light. So if you start by thinking about how the light is affecting what you're drawing or painting, it will help you to get better tones, and it helps you to think also to see something as having depth. So for example, I've got a line around this, but you don't need a line. I could do that completely without lines, and I'll show you now. This will begin to create a form. The simplest form. What I'm doing is representing light, and you see that that light creates a form in the darkness. There's no form, we can't see anything without light. So it's only when the light comes that things come into our sight. Because things are not flat, so if you think about this as not flat, let's pretend it's got 3 sections. That one's flat, but these go back, which is actually what happens if you think about a sphere. It's 3-dimensional. These things go back. It depends where the light hits, how you need to represent it. This light's coming from the side, so it's going to make this side here really, really, really bright. This will be a mid-tone. And this will be dark, because that is going into depth, and because it's going into the depth, the light can't reach it. Such a lovely way of drawing. Find a white pencil, find some dark paper, and try and draw things starting with the light rather than the dark.